this is a building. It's been shut down now.
With the boss right
What's
here.
the state doing?
Well, right now we're, Senator Leahy, General Doobie and I have been flying across the state, visiting small communities and assessing damage. Obviously, there are a number of things we're doing. First, we're trying to avoid further loss of life. Right now we're searching for some missing people that we're not optimistic about, but we're saying to Vermonters a few things to remain safe. First, stay away from down power lines. We can't get power crews into small communities fast enough because the roads and bridges have been washed out. So stay away from down power lines. Second, we're urging Vermonters to stay away from standing water. When you have loss of life in vehicles, it tends to be because people drive into water that they think isn't deep, and it is. And third and finally, reach out to your neighbors and friends. We have hundreds and hundreds of seniors, of low-income Vermonters who've been displaced from their homes. It just breaks your heart. They're living in shelters. If you're willing to take one or two in, much better to be in a home-cooked meal in someone's home in a bed with a family than it is to be in a shelter, and we're in this for a long haul. Now, having just gone to the end of your question, what are we doing? President Obama, Senator Leahy, our congressional team, has just been extraordinary. They have declared a major disaster area here in Vermont, and obviously they're going to get us the resources that we need to help rebuild.
You know, people care from other states here. Let's get back to the governor, but just something that just happened. We're walking down here. I got an email from another senator, a very conservative Republican senator. His email was this: Pat, you folks helped us when our state was hit. Tell us what to do. You know, it's a case where we're all in this together. And we Vermonters feel it because we live here. But we're in this all together. The governor has been unbelievable the way he's been going out. The general has got the Guard, probably the best National Guard in the country, out doing the things they're doing. And we just have to do it. But you watch it from the helicopter. One of the reasons when the state police tell you to stay off a road, there's a reason. We saw roads that look perfectly clear from the air. And then you go another mile, there's a huge washout. If anybody's going down that road, they would have died.
Governor, when you see things like this, and I know you guys took the helicopter above, what do you think about in terms of rebuilding and really how parts of this have been reshaped?
Well, let me first say that, Senator Leahy and I, and General Doobie, we're Vermont kids. When I stand out the flooded out Sam's Army and Navy, I bought my first hunting rifle in that spot. That's where I got my sporting goods equipment. I mean, this is home. And so first of all, it obviously, my heart goes out to the family and the families that will be notified soon about further loss of life. That's just extraordinarily devastating. Our hearts go out to all of them. But second, Vermonters are tough. We're tenacious. We stick together. We take care of each other, and we're going to pull through this. So it is discouraging. We don't get tropical storms. Irene whacked us hard. We prepared for the worst and hoped for the best. Unfortunately, we got the worst, and we'll get through this.
So, do you have any update on the death toll in your state?
Well, we're going to be a little careful on that one because we have some searches going on right now. All we can tell you is that obviously we're going to notify family before we notify the press of any further deaths, but we're not optimistic that we've seen the end of the death toll in Vermont.
There has been one
We're going to stay away from that right now.
Governor, what are we going to help ourselves and pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps?
Well, Vermonters help each other out. We're family. And the most important thing is, the hundreds and hundreds of seniors and low-income folks that have been displaced from homes. If we can all reach out to those folks, take them in our homes, do what we do in Vermont, take care of each other, we're going to get through this. Now, I just want to say, Senator Leahy, our congressional delegation, President Obama, they have been extraordinary. And they helped us out big time 3 months ago when we went through a smaller but significant flood. The President's on our side, the White House is on our side, and we're going to get the resources we need to rebuild.
As the most well-known Vermonters, arguably right now in this state and the country, are you surprised by what you're seeing in your state? Would you have expected this? Because most of our viewers, when they hear about all this damage in Vermont, go, Vermont, it's an inland state. There's great skiing there. They don't get tropical storms and hurricanes. Are you stunned by it?
it certainly is shocking, and you know it's devastating. But you know you have to remember, Irene was going to land somewhere, and you know I keep being somewhat disappointed by some of the national press where they think that because Manhattan didn't get hit, everybody's fine. You know, we're not Manhattan, but we've got human lives here in Vermont too, and we're just as important. And the bottom line is, we're a state of hills and valleys, of gorgeous mountains and small streams. And when those streams become major rivers, we're in big trouble. We've lost historic bridges, we've lost modern bridges, we've lost extraordinary lengths of highway, power lines, homes, businesses, churches, and this is going to be a tough slog for us.
Same question. Are you surprised by this?
Well, you know, I've watched in my office, working around the clock and through the weekend, following what we were hearing from the weather services in coordination with Governor Shumlin's office all the way. We knew we were going to get hit with something, and we knew it could be really bad. When it started coming, I think we realized how bad it was. And I can't praise our National Guard, the Governor's office, our police, and everybody else, and the local officials enough, because everybody came out and tried to do this. You know, when water moves that fast, there's very little you can do while it's happening. You have to try to put things back together afterward. But also because we're such a small state, everybody knows everybody else. And looking for the helicopter, I said, wait a minute, I know where that is. Or one of us would say, well, that's right by where I live, or that's where I went to school. And it's that kind of state, so it hurts even more. And that's why I was very touched when I got an email from my senator, a very conservative Republican senator in the Midwest, who emailed me and said, you helped our state when we were hit. Tell me how we can help your state now. And that's a good sign.
General Duty, can you give us a rundown of the commitment that the Guard has made over the past 36 hours?
We've been very busy, and I think it's hard to characterize what we're doing because we're doing such a eclectic mission set. We have groups that reacted mostly because of the flooding, but also some of the search and rescue efforts that the governor mentioned. I think that what surprised even the National Guard is we were prepared, but we had a difficult time reaching some communities, and we would take our reaction force down the road that we thought was open to find that it was closed, have to double back, find another route. That route was closed. Wilmington, for example, you know, it took us many hours to reach Wilmington late last night. Just we had to go down into Massachusetts with our reaction force and come back up. So that's been probably the most difficult time. Is there's so many roads that are out that it's difficult to reach the destination that you're trying to get to. But we will continue to support the governor, and we will continue to support Vermonters the way we have been for the last 36 hours.
You know, to be honest, we're doing a lot of research. We have one person right now who's just working to find out what's available. You know, we're a small state. One of the strengths that we have is that we're a small state, and when you call up, you know, the governor came down, you call up and you speak with somebody in charge. So I feel assured that we're going to get the answers that we need, but also it's a small state and we're overwhelmed. You know, it's not just Brattleboro. I'm very aware that there are other areas, other communities in our state who were hit worse and who need assistance, and I fully appreciate that the state has to prioritize its resources as well.
Let me just confirm the spelling of your name, please. It's Barbara, B-A-R-B-A-R-A, Sontag,
D-A-G, S-O-N-D-A-G. Yes,
thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Hey, Barb. So what's our timetable for a meeting?
That would go up to the chief. Can I get something out real quick? We've had some...
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Dispatch has received numerous calls about with regard to a couple of different rumors that I would just like to, put a halt to. We've not received any word of any kind of problems. The Connecticut River is rising. However, all the dams are in working order. We've not had any issues with that. We are watching the Connecticut, and because the Connecticut backflows into the West River, we are watching the West River. We have along the Connecticut River in our wastewater treatment plant, and a couple of different businesses, they've secured the properties. We have pulled staff from some of the areas that we're concerned about so that nobody gets left out on their own. However, at this point, we do think we'll be okay. We are closely watching it, but there are no breaches in any of the dams. There was I think that was the rumor, and I think that was the only one I had at this point.
Okay, so there wasn't anything else you had at this point?
There was, that was the main one. There was another rumor, but it was smaller.
Alright.
It was one of those I thought people would figure out.
Alright. So has Western Avenue been reopened yet, or at least parts of it?
We have opened Western Avenue we had it closed at the Citizens Bridge. We've opened it up. It is now closed at Central Appliance. And when I say it's closed at Central Appliance, it's closed at Central Appliance past the Chelsea Royal, and it is absolutely closed to everyone with the exception of emergency vehicles. Okay, we are doing an assessment of that, and FEMA has come down with a structural engineer. They've been able to certify the Melrose Bridge this morning, and he does that often. We've been able to certify the Melrose Bridge structure, and so we've been able to open that. Melrose Road or street is not open. We need to get a lot of gravel in there. The Melrose Terrace is not open at this time. We're still doing assessments and analysis there. That's still closed. Hayes Court has been just reopened about within the last hour. And until we get a structural engineer to look at the bridge on Route 9 by Cumberland Farms and to certify that, we won't be opening up Tri-Park or Westgate yet, but as soon as we get that certification, we'll be opening up Tri-Park and Westgate. Glen Street, we're still looking at. William Street, we had an accident this morning on William Street. Somebody went off the road, they ran into the brook. The brook is still starting to run fast again. People need to exercise caution. And I cannot stress enough, this is a dangerous situation. When you see pavement, you can see pavement and the road looks fine, and there may not be any dirt underneath it, and that's what we have on Route 9 up in West Brattleboro, and so that is the reason that we have that cut off right now.
So you can get from downtown as far as, like, you can get past the 7-Eleven all the way to Cumberland Farms, or?
Nope, to Central Appliance.
Which one's that? That we're,
what's that?
Okay, so you can get as far as Dollar General.
Yeah, as far as the Dollar General. But we were saying Central Appliance because it's locally owned and operated.
Central
and the Wilder, the buildings in Main Street and on Frost Place, we are still looking at those. Those need a structural engineer to review them before we can get in. They took a pounding from the whetstone. And as soon as people can get back into those buildings, we want people in their buildings. But remember, at this point, there is not electricity in there.
Do you know how many people are sort of cut off in their homes because of outbridges, and how many outbridges you have?
At this point, we're not sure on the number of people. What we found is a lot of the people on the outlying areas know the network of back roads and such and have been able to get through. We do know there are a couple of places that have been cut off. Westgate Sherwood Circle, until we get the Westgate Bridge certified, there is no transportation on there. So people have to, if they want to exit there, they have to walk down or up. We know that, Cook Road is out, and there are a couple, Stark Road is very difficult. We have the Public Works Department has been working really diligently and hard. They went out to hit Ames Hill Road this morning, and they were putting gravel down to get that stabilized. And we're not talking, please don't expect a high quality road at this point. We're really just putting patchwork in so that the road is passable for vehicles. We are trying to open up the main arteries, the Western Avenue. We do want to get it open because we do understand that we're having trouble, with some of the more people we keep off the pavement, the more people are going on the dirt roads, and the more dirt roads that we're losing. So we are trying to get the main paved roads open, as well as putting gravel on the
How many bridges
back roads.
are just completely impassable?
At this point, we only have one. At this point, that we have one that we know is lost. That is absolutely is lost. And other than that, we are really just looking at the structural stability. The other thing I want to caution people on with our bridges is that what you'll see in the whetstone is you see these trees lying down here. That's debris that's just going to continue to go downstream, and it's going to hit bridges. And that's one of our concerns with the Westgate Bridge, is that we have a lot of down trees in that area.
So I came up a little late, I'm sorry. Just give us an update on what the downtown area is like at this point.
The downtown areas are working to clean it up on Flat Street. We still have buildings that had water in them that need structural engineering done, and then an electrician to come and look before they can have power turned back on. And we have some buildings that, obviously this building that, has been condemned at this point until it can be fit. We're not sure at some of the households on Frost Place. Frost Place got hit pretty hard, as did some of the areas of Frost Street. And we have some people over, we've got about at least 5 to 10 people just in the downtown area looking at buildings. And then we've got our fire department who's out in West Brattleboro looking at the condition of homes out there.
How many homes would you guess are damaged? Or
I hesitate to even guess at this point.
Do you know when the business owners will be able to get into Flat Street? Like I'm a business owner, I wonder when I go in and get items.
On Flat Street?
Yeah.
I'm going to find that out. We've got, I recognize you. We've got people, if you hang out, I'll find out. I'll find out what they're looking at there.
Where were you at yesterday when this all happened?
I knew I recognized you, so, sorry.
Where were you at yesterday when everything happened?
I was in the EOC.
Okay.
We started meeting on Friday, or Wednesday on this. We met most of the day on Saturday, and we started at 6 a.m., 5:30 a.m. on Sunday.
Describe for people who aren't from this area what happened in downtown.
Well, it's the downtown we have issues with, but it's really out in the West Brattleboro area. The Whetstone Brook goes through the whole length of the town of Brattleboro, and so that's one of the things that makes this more difficult. It really impacts a very long, narrow area of our town. And really what happened, we were expecting a storm with high winds and not as much rain. We ended up with not as many high winds, thank goodness. But a lot more water and a lot more water damage and water out of its banks, and then water in places we've never seen water before.